How did you lose a swimsuit to a dog?
Well, you know, there's no change rooms out in the woods. So I'm changing, and I had just laid my suit down to start drying off and dressing. And I turned around to pick up my towel and my bathing suit, and it's not there. The bathing suit is not there. And I look off, and there's Cleo going like it was a toy.
I'm gonna say that's probably something else that people wouldn't expect about dog walking as a hazard.
I've gone through many clothing. You saw that Walter just jumped on me, and you know, had his dew claws been hooked, my down sweater might have been ripped. Yeah. I go through many pairs of hiking boots. I think actually I should apply to different companies.
I'd say you should be sponsored. You might be wondering why I'm on a horse for a show on dogs. Well, sometimes you go hiking with dogs and a horse. That's today on NSK9.
They're not allowed out unless they're quiet. Let's go, guys, come on. I love being my own boss. This is kind of one of the perks of this job. If you can make your hours flexible, you can go out and enjoy every day outside.
And people are paying you to be outside and have fun.
And play with their dogs. Yeah, that's really, you know, a rough thing. Now, the other thing is the responsibility, because I'm looking after most people's fur children. So I'm, you know, that's a bit of a weight on a person's shoulder.
Yeah,
you know,
and
it's a little easier.
These days people really see them as their children too. I mean, so it's just like running a daycare. Yeah.
When I started this business, this October will be 20 years ago. So I've been around a little while. People would say, "You do what?" And I'd say, "I do dog hiking." And they're like, "Is that dog walking?" And I'm like, "No, it's off lead in the woods." And they're, "Oh, okay." So, you know, over the first few years, that was sort of a common question. And then it's now become a little more, "Oh, you do dog hiking."
Yeah, now people kind of know what it is.
Yeah.
But you were really the only one at this at the time.
I certainly was.
At least around here.
Yes, I was one of the first ones.
Heather is no longer the only person in the suburbs of Halifax offering off-leash wilderness hikes for dogs. In fact, she's been the inspiration that some people needed to get into the career themselves.
So how did you get into doing this?
So I worked at a dog daycare. And then once I graduated college, I went, I'm going to Europe. Don't keep my spot for me because I'm not coming back. I came back and then, Piper, you okay? Let's go. So we came back and they didn't have a position for me full time. So the daycare started giving me dogs to take out for walks. And it just blossomed from that. So we're...
Did you start with the off-leash thing right from the beginning? Or?
No, I started with doing it around neighborhoods and I got bored. So I started talking to the owners being like, can I do this? And then I started doing some more research of other local dog walkers. Heather with Happy Hound Hikes has been a huge help for me. She's been running for over 20 years now and she was really happy to like help out.
Yeah, because there's a lot of demand for this, isn't there?
There is, but 10 years ago when I started, there wasn't.
There are many challenges associated with doing off-leash group hiking with dogs. The weather is one, knowing the dogs will get along is another, and of course, having somewhere to go that's safe for both the dogs and people.
Where we are today is an off-season golf course, but we sort of cut through this to get to a logging road and go out in the woods.
Yeah, because you couldn't really come here in the summer when they're playing golf.
No.
They might be a little bit upset with you.
I've been very fortunate in that I have a few private landowners that have willingly given me permission to take the dogs on their property. And
that's important though, isn't it? Having somewhere to be able to do this, that you aren't inundated by lots of other dogs and lots of other users, right?
Most definitely, because I mean, we've got bylaws, we've got people that don't like dogs. So even here, if I see somebody coming towards me, I'm quite often just turn the group and we go in a different direction.
So you must have to really think about the kind of dogs that you'll accept, right? Because, I mean, you obviously can't have a dog that isn't good off leash.
Right.
Because you need recall. And things. So what else is, well, how do you choose?
I bring the owner and their dog on an assessment, or what I call an interview hike. That way too, they get to see what their dog might be doing. I also get to assess in that period of time how they interact, how they listen or not to their owners. I get to do some recalls with them, assess how they are temperament-wise, because to me it's a happy mix. It's a dog that enjoys being with other dogs, has a good recall, is not intimidated by. I mean, you just heard some barking in the background. The two Weimaraners that I have a relationship where they wrestle and there's big growly noises, but they're all in play, but some dogs have not experienced that before.
Because I'll take any size, any breed. They just have to have off-leash manners and
yeah, because you're sort of specializing in the dogs that can go off leash, right?
Yes. So
this isn't like I'm going to go walk around the neighborhood with your dog and.
No, I don't do any privates anymore. I just do the group off leash. You have snowballs. So they get snowballs. I know it looks like a thing. Anyways, it's a musher secret I stuff in this.
Oh.
And it's just like a little wax for them. So I apply it in the car before we go, and then out on the trail if they seem to be getting a few extra snowballs.
And it just stops it from attaching to them?
Yeah, it's honestly, it's like you're waxing their foot. So I also have a face cloth in the car for afterwards, because they will leave little waxy footprints at home if you don't wash it off.
Oh, yeah.
Dogs can eat grass, actually, we speculate, for a number of reasons. It can be just behavioral in that some dogs actually like the taste of grass. Sometimes it may mean that there's an underlying condition, such as dietary indiscretion, or a pet may eat grass to induce vomiting if they are feeling nauseous. Eating grass can be absolutely harmless. However, in large amounts, it can absolutely lead to GI upset, such as vomiting, as well as we've seen gastrointestinal blockages from eating too much grass.
You couldn't do this if you didn't like winter, could you?
I wouldn't recommend it. So I walk in all weather. If it was raining today, I'd still be out here.
And there can be some miserable winter in Nova Scotia.
Oh, yes. We just luck out that it's really pretty today.
Yeah.
Piper, enough.
What surprises you most about this?
The amount of people that don't think you can make a living at it. When you tell people, like, I'm a professional dog walker, like, this is my full-time job, they think, oh yeah, so you must be like in college and just doing it for a little extra money. They don't realize that it's such a feasible job opportunity. It's a little different than other jobs because you're responsible for a life, right? If I slide into the ditch, it's not just my life on the line, it's theirs. I'm out here in the wildlife, like, it's like, they're my responsibility. So it's a lot. And
This is like somebody's kids.
yes, oh, 100%.
It's exactly the same, right?
Yes. Yeah. If not, a little bit more, I find. Some
Well, I suppose because
owners
with
are-
kids, people will be dropping them off to you, staying in your place. You're actually picking them up.
Yeah.
You have responsibility in people's homes.
Taking dogs hiking out in the wilderness also comes with its own unique hazards.
Porcupines are probably my biggest hazard that I have to really plan for, keep an eye out for, know the signs that they're around, so you'll be able to see in the trees if they're freshly eaten. That's usually a good sign that there's one wandering around. Leave it. Thank you. I don't run into much other wildlife, honestly.
I guess wildlife's
I
probably more
talk-
scared of the dogs.
Yeah, well, and I talk to the dogs. I sing to the dogs. I'm not a good singer, so I'm not going to demonstrate. Just anything to kind of keep there's a human in the woods, you should be scared of me. And you've heard I've whistled to the dogs. Let's go.
You go in any weather at all,
all
don't you?
weather, yeah. That's my motto, all weather, I'm out there. As long as the dogs want to be out there, I'll be out there. And I have yet to have a dog, well, some will refuse, but overall the group will not refuse. But then we just know who doesn't like, you know, when it's raining out, or if it's too cold or too deep. We know which ones those are, and it's just like, okay, you get vetoed today, Meg.
What's the best part of this?
Oh my gosh, there's so many best parts. I get to be around dogs all day. I get to be outdoors, so those combine together. And I get to be my own boss, so those add up to be the best. I mean, I've had the opportunity to meet so many different people through this job, just meet, you know, of like interests. So I bump into somebody on the trail and you strike up a friendship. They're like, oh, so you come out here lots, you know, maybe I can join you, is that okay? And I'm like, sure. So then you get people that enjoy being in your company
Oh,
as
that's
opposed
neat.
to, yeah.
So you also do this with horses sometimes, or a horse.
Well, I own a horse, and when I first worked with my horse, before he was mine, I was doing groundwork with him. So he was 1.5 years when I first met him. So he wasn't old enough to be backed. His name is Phoenix. And I would take him out on my group hikes and just lead him with me. And he'd have all the dogs running around. So he got exposed to all the stuff that he would in the future if I was riding him. So he got very dog wise and safe to be around. So I would take him on my hikes sometimes when I had a good group of dogs that were good with the horse.
Nope, you didn't hear that wrong. Sometimes Heather leads these hikes with her horse, Phoenix.
From the Northumberland.
Combine your two passions.
Combine my two passions. Anyway, we have fun. We combine our time and take to the trails.
And so you really have, when you're hiking with other people's dogs,
Yes.
you sort of need to make sure that they've been introduced to the horse and understand not to get trampled, because
Right.
this is going to hurt on a paw, right?
It would. So they're usually respectful of a large animal, but there are a few that are oblivious.
Yeah.
And those are the ones I have to watch.
Because it'd be the getting between the legs or something, wouldn't it?
Right. So he has had dogs run underneath him, and he's okay with that. But again, he doesn't have eyes under his belly, so we have to be careful that he doesn't accidentally step on or.
Yeah, because it wouldn't, I mean, a horse doesn't want to step on a dog anyways, but it's just they can't see what's going on under them.
Right, right. They only have a certain range of vision.
There you go.
Yeah.
You're probably the only person doing this around here.
I think probably the only one that's combining those two things.
Yeah, I mean, there's people who have horses and their own dogs are with them all the time, but people walking other people's dogs is probably at a whole other level.
And because I do the boarding, I have my clients coming with me doing whatever I'm doing on the weekend, along with my own dogs.
Yeah, so then they get used to it, right?
So yes, I have the opportunity to introduce them more slowly to the farm and the animals. And sometimes I'll lead them on leash as we go through the barnyard until we get to the trail, just so they don't have too many distractions. It's just the one. And I'll start off with hand walking him. I won't ride him right away. And then once I see that they're respectful and comfortable around, then I will look for a place to mount up and ride them. So yes, Phoenix is not bothered by dogs at all. He's been surrounded by them, barked at, jumped on, run under. What I cultivated was that attitude is I want to be. Like, I've taken everything off him, walked through these trails, and he follows along like he's one of my dogs. So
you've trained him just like a dog.
Just like a dog.
Yeah, because there is a point where each of the animals has to respect one another.
Yes.
And that's something that you must have had to spend a lot of time teaching them.
Yep. Well, I used to do agility with my dogs.
I thought you were going to say agility with your horse.
Well, he loves to jump, but I don't like to jump.
Oh, okay.
But I do him like an agility dog, and we have the jumps set up, and he jumps over the jumps while I direct him, and I clicker trained him like I would a dog.
Really?
And so he would get a click as he jumped over the jump. He'd come back to me for the reward. Then I'd set 2 jumps up. Oh yeah, he's a clicker trained horse. I came from a dog training world. I was 13 years teaching with NSK9 Academy and 2 years up in Ottawa at the Center for Applied Canine Behavior. And we were all clicker positive reinforcement based.
Most of the time they don't need to. Luckily our temperatures aren't too extreme in the winter. Look at, say, sled dogs. I mean, they're not wearing booties most of the time and they're doing just fine. However, there are a few breeds that really benefit from it, say a Chihuahua and these little hairless dogs, things like that can really benefit from it. But in terms of is it needed, most of the time, no.
I actually love when they push me in rivers. It makes for funny stories. So a lot of times during the spring and summer, there's usually just, you kind of have to do that hop skip from rock to rock, or there's one log across, something like that. And I have had multiple of them come behind me and just take me right out, right into the river. And they didn't do it intentionally, it's just hilarious.
Which I guess just goes to show you that you really do need to love this to be able to laugh at something like that.
Exactly.
And enjoy this as a career.
Yeah.
What is the best part of this?
This. Welcome to my winter wonderland. Like, seriously. You'll be sitting, most people sit in their office or whatever, and they'll be looking at the beautiful sunny day, and I'm like, I'm out in that. Like, I get to be outside every single day. Let's go. Let's go. Millie, can you go, please? Thank you.
So you never get sick of being around dogs, do you?
Nope. I love it. I take even a 10-pound Yorkie with us.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's not too difficult for a small little dog?
As long as they're able, Piper, let's go, to keep up and have no health issues, I have no problem taking them. And sometimes the little ones can go farther than the big ones.
Everybody wants to say, oh, it's great, Heather's outside every day in the sunshine, she gets to be with dogs. But then there's the bad weather. Then there's the dog that gets into something disgusting that then ends up in the back of your car. Or in one case, dog burped. This is before I put the barrier behind my back, my seat behind me, and the dog used to rest its head on my shoulder and watch, you know, as we drove. And she burped, followed by her breakfast. And it was all down my shoulder, went down in underneath my seat. And I cleaned up as best I could, but you can't get in underneath your seat rails.
No.
And that was summertime. And it started to, yeah. So I had
That's where a good detailer is well worth their money.
Well, I had a client who worked on his own race cars, and he helped me take my driver's seat out of the car.
Oh my goodness.
So I could clean up and underneath the mat and everything else. So I fondly recall a friend of mine and I hiking together. He joined my group hike, and two of the dogs, husky orientation, decided that the deer and trails that were very fermented, springtime, the snow had covered them nicely. They rolled in it. They came back looking like punk rockers with the spiked fur, and the worst smell ever. Like I've had kids, I've changed dirty diapers, I've done all that. Nothing compares to that smell, and we didn't want any of them in the car.
Ready? This way, please. Let's go. Thank you.
What's the hardest part about this?
Running into the unknown. So I have to prepare for porcupines, snares. So
Yeah, because you can hunt in this area.
You can hunt in this area, and you'll see all the rabbit tracks actually here to our left.
Oh yeah.
So they do actively hunt in here because it is a joint use area. So you get the hunters during hunting season, and then just other people out using the trails, which is great, but when you come across the corner, you're like, are you a friendly person? Are you not? My father is deadly allergic to dogs and cats and all other animals. So I didn't get to have dogs until I went out on my own.
You liked them but couldn't have one.
Yes, exactly. So I guess I actually started dog walking back as a kid because I would steal the neighbors' dogs and take them out.
Little did they know that this would end up being a career.
Exactly. I should have started charging way back then. I would have been so much ahead of the game.
What did you think your career would be?
I really wanted to be a zookeeper.
Well, this is a little bit like being a zookeeper, especially on certain days.
I have been walking this trail since I was a wee one. My dad was very big into the outdoors, so was my mom, so we were just constantly and be like, all right, go outside, go play, like, come on.
Were they surprised when you decided you wanted to be a dog walker?
My mom always jokes if I would have told her I was going to make a living out of it, she would have laughed at me. In a good way. They're very, very supportive. But yeah, they kind of thought it was going to be this like, okay, you're going to dog walk. Like, we support you, but like, look for a career. And then it's like, no, this is going to be my career, guys. And now they're totally supportive. They
well, now
love
they see what it is, right?
Exactly.
Who needs a vacation when you're doing what you're going to do anyway on your spare time? That's a bonus. And as my father pointed out, you do not have a retirement package waiting for you. So I want to wear out anyway. That's my goal. I want to wear out. I don't want to fail, sit around for years and wait for the end to come. I just, so I said the ideal thing is, and please be happy for me, if you find me being licked over by dogs and not breathing. Because
the way you wanted to go.
I wanted to go. Be happy for me.
So these are your friends?
They are my friends. They're my best friends. I love every single one of them.
Visit us online to tell us your dog stories for possible inclusion in future episodes. And don't forget to share photos of your canine friends on social media with the hashtag NSK9.
Oh, see the herding dog out front. She thinks she's herding the horse back to the barn. And her mother's at his heel, so we've got the drover in behind, herder up front.
Well, at least they feel like they're doing some work.
Yeah, I know. And we can do this for miles and miles and miles, and they're just happy doing it.